wabarakatuh. My name is Yusuf Adi Hakim bin Abid Zamrin, and today my team and I uh, will be introducing our system, which is the Malaysia Cancer Rate Information System. First of all, before we get into the system, I want to explain the objective of our system. The objective of our system is to ease the National Cancer Institute and also the public in accessing the data of the cancer diseases in our country. It is we want to create a system that could measure the cancer rate in Malaysia based on the race specifically to determine the race that dominate the statistic of cancer cases in Malaysia, and also to observe the gender that are most likely to develop cancer. We also want to create awareness among the people about the variation type of cancer which had affected the Malaysian citizen. This is to ease the researcher in observing the data while conducting the research. Let's get into the system. Right. What you can see here is the homepage of our system. Right. We have the welcome sign. We say welcome to Malaysia in Cancer Rate Information System. Right here we have some interactive button which can navigate you to the other part of the system. The first button is the home page. The second is the organizational chart. The third is chart menu. The fourth is the patient registration system. The fifth is the list of patient. The sixth is the state and diagnosis. And the last one is the level and occurrence. Alright. For example, if a person want to go to the organizational chart menu, so they only need to click the organizational chart interactive button here, and it will navigate you to the organizational chart. Alright. If you want to go back to the home page, you can just click this button, and then you can get back. It will navigate you back to the home page. Right. Let's get to the organizational chart. Alright. Here is our organizational chart. Right. I think that's all from me, and I will pass to the next presenter.
My name is Mirza binti Muhammad Abdul Karim, and I will explain on the next part of the system. So this is the chart menu. If we click on the chart menu from the home page, it will bring us to this page. So the purpose of the chart menu is to make it easier for the people that use the system to find or to look at the data that contains any charts. As example, the data that contain pie chart or bar chart. So under this menu, we have 3 items or button that we can click. So as example, this first button, most common cancer based on gender. If we click on this button, it will bring us to the most common cancer page. Same goes to the number of cases based on states and the number of patients based on gender. So this is all for the chart menu. Next, we will go back to the home page, and I will explain on the next part, which is the states and diagnosis. So here is the number of cancer cases based on states and diagnosis. The purpose of the table here is to make it easier and simpler for the system user to see how many patients from certain states in Malaysia who have certain type of cancer. So in the row labels, there are the diagnosis or the types of cancer, and in the column labels, there are all the states in Malaysia. So if we, as example, if you want to see how many patients from Johor that have breast cancer, you can see here. So there are 15 patients from Johor that have breast cancer. So above this table, there are these 2 categories, which are gender and race. If you want to find any specific gender or any specific race, as example, we can click on female and click OK. So this table will show the information, only the information on the female patients. So same goes to the race. So under this table, there are this chart. As we can see here, it's really hard to see the number of patients from this chart because there are too many types of cancer and there are too many states. So in order to make it easier for the system user to see the chart, we insert the slicer here so that we can click on this slicer instead of going back to this table above and click on this gender or race categories. So this slicer here consists of gender, race, and states. As example, if you want to find the both female and male patient that live in uh, Negeri Sembilan, who is Malay. So this chart here will change according to the button that we choose or the slicer that we choose here. So this is the purpose of this slicer and this chart. So this is all from me. I will pass to the next person to explain on their part.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Umi Zakira Sudirman and I will explain on list of patient as well as level and occurrence. So let's go here first. As you can see here, this list here contains the registered patient name, 1,000 of it. So we have name, gender, race, diagnosis, and state. As you can see, this button over here is made by using auto filter function. So the filter function is used when we want to filter something out. For example, let's say I want to filter out male, so I click on male, then I click on OK, so only the female registered name will be shown on this table. Right, so let's go back. Okay, for this box here, as you can see, it is to make it easier for anyone to find someone, their cancer type, and also which state does that someone comes from. For example, if I put it here, I click on here, it has this message box which comes from data validation. So it says here, please enter the name of a registered patient only, meaning only registered patient can be entered here. Okay, so let's say I put another name which is Der. Okay, Der. Okay, Der is not registered on this table because it is a wrong entry. Alright, so let's go with another name. Okay, Aaron Kwok. Enter. Okay, Aaron Kwok has lymphoma and is from Selangor. Is it true? Aaron Kwok, lymphoma, Selangor. Alright, so the system works. Okay, so let's move on to the next page, which is this one. Okay, so I use a function to determine the level of cancer cases in states and occurrence of cancer cases. As you can see, we have really high, average, low, good. So how do I get all of this? Basically, I use the if function formula. So 133 is higher than 100, so of course it's going to be really high. But 96 is lower than 100, so it's going to be left as blank because I put it here blank. Okay, so let's move on to the next table. Okay, so the next table is about occurrence of cancer cases. So this is the cancer case here. Okay, so basically it's the same if function used, but you can see that I put another logical test which is 170. So I have to use this formula which is if and n, because we have two logical tests. So cases here 97 is higher than 70 but lower than 100, so of course it's gonna be common. But if this one 40 if obviously lower than 70 and very much lower than 100, so it's gonna be left as blank because I put it here on the formula, in the formula. So the same goes for this one, for this table, because it also has n, meaning it has two logical tests. Okay, alright, so that's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Good evening to Madam Yusmawati and my fellow friends. My name is Alia Humaira, and now I would like to show you the next function in our system, which is VLOOKUP function. Okay, we organize the patient registration system into our VLOOKUP function. Basically, this function is because to allow some information regarding to the patient information, such as gender, race, diagnosis, and also states. Our purpose of preparing the system is to measure the cancer rates, okay, by gender, race, and diagnosis and state list. So that's why we prepare the VLOOKUP function just based on these elements. Okay. Furthermore, this also mainly to help the researcher, academician, and also maybe the people from the National Cancer Institute which purposely to if they want to find or to analyze the original data of their patients by measuring those elements. Moreover, the reason why we didn't include the name of the patient in this VLOOKUP is because maybe the name of the patient is confidential, but somehow we also provided it in the list of patients. Okay, so therefore this VLOOKUP will only indicate the information about the patient through this registration number. Furthermore, the users also can filter what kind of information they wanted by click on the filter here. Okay, and yes, they can easily access the information from left to right. Let me show you the example. Okay, let's say they wanted to analyze only the patient cancer with bladder cancer. Okay, so yeah, only those who diagnosed with bladder cancer only appear to the screen. Okay, next we move to the next part, which is most common cancer. Okay, based on the data that we have provided in here, okay, this will help the government specifically to observe the trend of all types of cancer that attack male and female in Malaysia. Furthermore, this data also will help them to determine their next step to deal with this kind of issues. In order to reduce their time and burden, our system will help to simply use by them to select the data that they wanted without have to look through all the informations in the cancer report, which require a longer time for them to analyze the data. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Nur Insyirah binti Muhammad Akbal and I will continue this presentation for the next two last sheets. So let's proceed. For the first sheet, which contains the information of the number of cases based on the states. So as we can see here, in this sheet, we are using the pivot table and also the pivot charts. So the data can be easier to read since in this feature, there are several sub-features where we can use to choose the data that we want to see. These features basically helps in filtering the data, so it only shows the data according to what we have been choose and takes. These features also basically will be so much easier to be used, especially by the researchers, as they can directly choose the data that they actually want. Like when they want to compare the patient's number based on the states, then they just need to click the states button here and then choose the states that they want and click OK, and here it will automatically show the data of the patients. And like in the previous sheets, in these sheets also we have the interactive buttons which link this page with the start menu. So people do not have to click the back button for so many times in order to go back to the main page. Next, for the last sheet, it contains the information about the number of patients based on the race and the gender. Basically, all the features in this sheet, such as the tables, charts, and the interactive button, also using the same features as the previous sheets, where people can select and see the data that they want to see in one click. However, the only difference is for the table, we are not using the pivot table, but instead we are using the data validation system. So from this sheet, we can see that the data provided is much easier to be analyzed since it looks simpler compared to the data provided in the report prepared by the institution. Even though it looks simple, but it also compact with the information which make the data can be trusted and easier to understand. So to sum up this presentation of this system, I would like to say that this system can be said as so much easier than the system that already exist. This is because this system can be accessed by many people, including the public people, the researcher, the government, and also the health departments. So by using this system, the data and the trend of the cases can be easily observed since it contains many features that makes the data easier to access and to be understood by the people. The data provided also will always keep up to date with the current year, which make it remains relevant to be used as the reference.